In this video, I'd like to show you how I planted this golden Dorsett apple tree. The method I used to plant this tree is pretty much the same method I used to plant nearly all my other fruit trees. The majority of these trees planted here along this fence line, as well as a few others, were all planted in the same manner, utilizing deep root watering system. The pipes you see here in the ground next to the tree will be used for deep root watering. They go down to about 4.5 to 5 feet deep. I'll show you in a few how they were placed here. I'll be trimming the ends off, leaving it flush with the ground, and placing a drain cap on top. These deep root watering pipes won't be used until the roots are well established. I'm guessing they won't be used until next season. This newly planted apple tree, along with these pear trees, will eventually be trained to grow as Espalier trees. I have another apple tree, and it's an apple tree that I wanted to plant next to the Dorsett, but it's not doing well. I'm not sure it's going to survive, so I'm holding off on planting it. I may need to buy a new one and plant it instead. We'll see how it goes. I'll be coming back to this area and installing some posts on the ends and run a cable in order to start training these trees to be grown as a espalier. This project will have to wait, though. I want to give the trees in this area a little bit of time to get a little bit more established before I start training them to grow as espalier trees here. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you may have heard me talk about how compacted and poor draining the soil is in my backyard. I've had to do extensive work in order to prep all planting areas. The top 2 feet of this planter is not too bad as far as water drainage goes. But once you get to the patio level, the ground is notably much harder. I wound up digging a rectangular hole that measured about 5.5 feet long, a little over 2 feet wide, and about 2.5 feet deep. I also dug another 2 holes in the bottom that were about 10 inches in diameter, and they were another 2.5 feet deep. Here you can see how much dirt came out of this section. And here's what the area looked like after digging the holes. After digging the holes in the bottom, I placed a 3-inch perforated drain pipe and backfilled the hole with lava rock. With the majority of the trees that I've previously planted, I would usually fill the hole all the way up to the top with lava rock. This time I decided to do a little bit different, and I just added about 10 or 12 inches of lava rock in the center holes. I backfilled the remainder of the hole with a very well draining soil mix consisting of cactus soil mix, perlite, an organic soil mix, and chicken manure, and mixed in a little bit of azomite as well. For the remainder of the rectangular hole. I used pretty much the same soil mix, but I just added in some native soil. Before adding the backfill dirt, I added a layer of gypsum on the bottom in order to help loosen the soil for better drainage. I also added a little bit of azomite. Once the hole was backfilled with dirt, I removed the apple tree from its container. I was expecting the tree to be root bound, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. As you can see, the roots were just starting to circle, but not too bad. This tree was purchased nearly a year and a half ago, and it's been growing in this 15-gallon container the whole time. After removing the tree from the container, I placed it in the ground and scraped off a top layer of soil and exposed the top of the root ball. I then added some mycorrhiza on the exposed roots on the top and along the sides. I also placed some mycorrhiza in the planting hole before positioning the tree in the ground. I then cleared a small trench around the tree and placed a wire screen that measured about 12 inches in diameter at a height of about 4 inches. I placed it at the base of the tree and then added a layer of worm castings and covered the exposed root ball. Next, I added some sand on top of the worm castings. After adding the sand, I added some volcanic rock on top. In the past, I used pumice and prefer it because the rocks are much smaller, but I haven't been able to find any place that sells it at a reasonable price, so I decided to use volcanic rock instead. I added a layer and filled it to the top of the screen. I plan on filling this whole area with wood chips as soon as I've planted all the trees along this section, and I'd like to have a barrier to keep the wood chips away from the trunk and root ball, which is the main reason why I use the volcanic rock at the base of the tree. This is just an extra precaution on my part. I've seen plenty of videos out there where trees have been planted without taking any of these extra steps, and they are doing very well. For me, it's just peace of mind to keep the possibility of some fungus or disease caused by moisture from any wood chips that may be otherwise pressed up against the trunk. By adding this barrier, the wood chips can break down away from the root ball and trunk of the tree. And I don't think I'll be getting any slugs or snails, of which I have quite a few in my yard. I don't think any of them will be climbing through these rocks and get to the base of the tree. I'd also like to mention this tree recently flowered back in mid-September, and you may have noticed that there are some apples that are starting to develop. This is not the best time to be planting an apple tree. A better time for planting would be when the tree is dormant, or at least at a time when it's not pushing out any fruit. My initial plan was to plant it sometime in December or January, but I had to move my timeline and decided to do it now. I'll wind up stripping off the fruit that is starting to develop. I might leave just a couple. In the past, this tree has put out a good amount of fruit, and I'm not going to allow it to push out a heavy crop after transplanting it. That might be a bit too much stress, so I will definitely be thinning this tree down. I'll be sure to keep you posted on its progress. Well, that will be it for now on the apple tree. I hope you enjoyed watching. I'm working on a video of my dragon fruit. It recently flowered for the first time, and it looks like it set some fruit. I'll be uploading that video soon, so please keep an eye on it. Or even better, please consider subscribing to my channel and click on the notification button so you can be notified as soon as I upload a new video. I've been posting videos on a regular basis, so if you'd like to follow along, click on the subscribe button and don't forget to give this video a like. As always, stay safe, grow your own, and thank you for watching.